So there's an old saying that goes as follows: birds of a feather flock together. In essence, what that means is the people that you surround yourself with are a reflection of who you are. And so when it comes to people like Andrew Tate, who's the sort of individual that I would not necessarily give a spotlight to unless there was something that I really felt was necessary, for the simple fact that I don't believe he deserves any more attention than he's already getting, right? But this comes in relationship to somebody who I've been unpacking for the last few weeks, at least publicly, in the last few months, if not years, privately. And that is Candace Owens. Now, one of my biggest criticisms of Candace, aside from all the sort of stuff that she's been getting into as far as her blatant Jew hatred, is her association with Andrew Tate. Her relationship with a man who represents everything that is contradictory to what she claims and tells us that she actually represents and stand behind. And so I thought to myself, let's do a deeper dive into who this guy actually is. Now, again, I've done quite a bit of unpacking myself just to see what this guy's about. And the conclusion that I've come to is this is a man who is, well, I use that term man loosely. This is a guy who is an opportunist. He likely has narcissistic tendencies. Some would say confirmed, but I can't give the complete diagnosis. But I would say there are psychopathic tendencies. There are a dark triad personality traits that he has, Machiavellianism, etc., right? Those manipulative sort of tendencies, etc. But more than anything else, he is a guy who seeks out opportunity in order to grab onto as much attention, which translates into power or influence, as he possibly can. So he's a guy who entered into the space, essentially the world of quote unquote men, knowing that he could infiltrate because there was a weakness, a vulnerability. A lot of young men are seeking guidance. They're seeking purpose. They're looking for other men that they could essentially mimic. You know, a lot of boys are growing up without fathers or without strong father figures in the household, and therefore they're looking for a way. A lot of young men don't know how to deal with relationships. They've never seen examples of healthy relationship dynamics. There's a lot of insecurity at those stages in life, and some never outgrow those or never heal past those wounds. And so they carry those pains with them. There are older men who have been through divorces, this, that, and a third, and they're jaded off of life. Maybe they were done dirty or heard stories of other men done dirty. And so here's a guy who's an opportunist who understood that in the same way he once profited off of young men through OnlyFans and being the so-called PhD, which is P-I-M-Ping, you can put that together, H-O-E-S degree. That's his PhD out of his own mouth. Then, as he looks to make his way into mainstream media or into essentially the mainstream consciousness, well, he latches onto the red pill movement. And every now and then, like they say, a broken clock is correct at least twice in a day. Every now and then he'll say something that is true in order to carry the rest of his, dare I say, dangerous messaging. And some people will say, well, I mean, it's just freedom of speech and he's saying things that are helpful, etc. And to me, I say, absolutely, he is exercising his freedom of speech. But I can still say that there's certain rhetoric that is dangerous, especially when you're considering that these are young, vulnerable men who are going to listen and essentially do things that are going to destroy their lives. They're going to go out there and actually make their lives worse off. They're going to have worse relationships. And so this is a man who is, or a guy, I'm not going to give him that amount of respect, a caricature who is an opportunist. And so I thought that maybe we could just go through this video, just a little compilation style video showing you who he is. And I will give my 2 cents as we move along here. So without further ado, let's get into it.
It's true that you and your brother made money from video chat studios?
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
You made millions of pounds from sexual webcam activity where you and the woman doing the webcams would make money. You accept that?
No. What I did is...
Well, that is how you made money.
No, that was one of the ways I made money.
Was that the first million?
I think I made $1 million before that. I first became a multimillionaire by running a webcam studio.
How long?
So, number one, blatant liar. Outright liar. Now, we got Candace coming up here, and let's see what we get out of this. But if somebody shows you who they are, you could fill out the rest. When somebody shows me their character, they show me that they lack integrity in one space, I believe it in every single other area of their life. I don't wait to figure it out. I draw my conclusions based upon how that person shows up, as opposed to being a fool, as maybe I was as a young boy, and trying to give the quote unquote benefit of the doubt. Well, maybe, they just, I don't know, they made a mistake. No, they made a choice based upon likely their habits, which make up their character. That's who they are. So let's continue.
What was your webcam business?
Yeah, so I stopped having any involvement with it. I think 8 to 9 years ago I stopped. Firstly, I have not been involved with it for 7 years. It's not how I make money. I haven't touched it for a very long time. 7 years is a long time. You made a lot of money. When Corona came, I scaled it back up, right? So I got 20 more girls online. We scaled that back up to $300,000 or $400,000 a month.
I know I have some of the cult of Andrew Tate that are tuning in right now, that are pissed off. This is a guy who maybe said some things and you felt that those things helped you in some way, as anybody would get if you listen to most self-help information, right? A lot of it, when you really get down to the bottom of it, is about taking personal accountability. It's that simple. Taking more responsibility over the areas of your life that you have control of, which is most of your own personal life. Not the next person's, but your own. So, yeah. Is it 9 years ago, as you say to your good friend, Candace, who, again, is married to one of Andrew Tate's oldest friends? They knew each other before the fame, before the status, and etc. So that means Candace's husband knew Andrew Tate while he was active in this quote unquote business of his, webcam business. Here's a guy who's pushing a message of helping young men when he's really pushing the adult content that is ruining young men, and is one of the biggest factors in why so many young men are miserable, depressed, and essentially having terrible relationship dynamics with themselves and with the women that they're trying to be in relationship with, skewing their perception of what relationship is about and intimacy is about. That's what this man has been pushing as a business model for years at this point, and doubled down, as you heard right there, and as we'll continue, as he's talking to another virtual PIMP. Again, Candace, when you ask that question, do you genuinely want the answer, or are you just looking to create a narrative or to allow your friend to perpetuate his narrative? Because she happens to be one of these people who claims to hold this Christian value of chasteness and, prudence, right? Not being filled with lust. But then her bestie, or at least a close friend, somebody she is not willing to do an expose on. We get a 7-episode expose on whether or not Macron is married to a dude. And we don't get a single one on unpacking Andrew Tate. So I guess it's for the rest of us to have to do that. Let's continue.
So I got back into the game hard, but now we're coming towards the end of Corona. I'm going to keep like 5 or 6 of my main girls. I am accused of helping my friends get big on TikTok, but the fact that we are somehow convincing them to have TikTok. I mean, what did I do? I helped some people organize some accounts on an internet website. That's what I did. I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away. I helped women with the tax side. Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're getting paid in Bitcoin. So you don't need to pay tax to anybody.
Oh, For anybody wondering, that's directly from a course of his, actually. That video right there that y'all see right in front of me, that is from his personal course that you can, I think you can still purchase it. I'm not sure if that's still on the market, but he still has a lot of these same things that he is teaching on how to help men make money. I'm going to help men make money by doing the same degenerate thing that I did, that I'm lying that I'm not doing or did not do for the last 9 years. Okay. Recently as 2020, you have been scaling up, or 2021, you have been scaling up. So you're going to teach young men to do those things as you're preaching a message of helping young men escape the matrix. Buddy, it seems like you are the matrix.
But you need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax. The girls would sit there fully clothed or a bikini. Some of them would paint pictures. Some of them would sing songs. It's very similar to Twitch is now. I had girls sitting on the internet talking to guys. They're sitting there with their tits out on a computer.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No, they're accusing me, and this is the thing, they're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
And Tucker is another guy I've been unpacking as of recently. I'll probably get to the rest, the Dave Smiths of the world, Nick Fuentes, I've been getting to a little bit. Just these prominent voices, more specifically on the right, more conservative, that have infiltrated. Jordan Peterson tried to warn us. The likes of, what's his name? James Lindsay, I believe. People are discrediting him. Oh, woke right, you're doing the very same thing the left is. No, actually, these people are. This is coercive. This is manipulative. This is controlling. And yeah, there are those who are looking to do exactly that. They're looking to make their way in, wolf in sheep's clothing, to infiltrate the minds of the vulnerable, or infiltrate the minds of, people who may believe, like you and I, that we have a solid standing in our belief, and they're looking to create discord. They're looking to create division, or worse off and more sadistically, they're looking to have you question the very morality that you stand on. You want a family, you want kids, you want a wife, and guess what? You have Andrew Tate telling you that you are blue pilled for that. You cannot trust women. Never trust a woman. He's not teaching you how to be a solid man in order to be able to align with a solid woman, but instead pushing the other narrative, and is showing it more than he is telling it through his own life. That to me is everything. Show me your life. Are you somebody who is moving towards these ideals of what actually helps a man? Okay, you tell that man to grind, grind, grind. Fantastic. Go get the bag. Absolutely. How did you get yours? Oh, you literally sold young men out. Got you.
Do you know what lover boy method means? Being nice. He was nice and polite and kind, and they really liked him as a person.
Just as I'd found in Rotherham and Rochdale, the gangs of abusers used the boyfriend model of exploitation to lure in their victims.
The boyfriend trap is a type of exploitation when it comes to victims of human trafficking. It's also known as the lover boy method. It's basically where someone is dependent, or they feel they're dependent on that person, gets them to fall in love with them, they then exploit them.
Is that my crime? Maybe I did love them. But we're not together anymore, so what? I pretended? Who said I pretended? Prove I pretended to love. And then what did I pretend to love them to achieve?
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them so they listen to me. So I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. I have met beautiful women with a good personality and thought she will make me money. I have to fuck this bitch. I don't want to. I just need the money.
A lot of people conflate my current scenario and the situation I'm in with my old webcam business, even though they're not related at all.
You would then persuade them to do webcam stuff, right?
TikTok.
Okay, but wait, let's call it webcam stuff, right?
No, let's not call it that. The indictment is about TikTok. Everything from these old videos, old clips, my webcam company, things that happened 10 years ago have absolutely nothing to do with the current case.
This is why I believe that this guy is a full-blown narcissist, because he is so delusional that I'm looking not to get into the ad hominems, right? Into just blatant insults, but he's not a very intelligent individual. He is borderline dim-witted, right? He might intellectualize things and sound smart and be able to articulate himself. Sure, give him that all day. But the fact that he has aired himself out publicly, continuously, telling you exactly the sort of crimes that he is committing, continuously. Again, I'm not doing any sort of expose of conspiracy, because that's the folks out there who are still latching on to the cult of Andrew Tate. Oh, well, it's the deep state. Well, it's the Matrix. That's the one. It's the Matrix. The Matrix is out to get him. He's telling you what the hell he's been doing and what he is doing and why he's doing it, and then lying on the other side. Time and time again. Now, mind y'all, I haven't even gotten into the sort of rhetoric and things of that nature that he continues to say and espouse, and what he got famous for, what he went viral for. I'm not even getting into that, because I understand that people can try to pick that apart. Well, you're just offended. You're just a blue pill. You're just a blah, blah. Okay, fantastic. Then here, I'll show you what he's saying about him. Why he does what he does. How about that? How can you refute his own words unless you want to? Unless you're just as degenerate as he is?
Absolutely zero. Anything you see from before 2021 has nothing to do with the case.
A lot of the evidence in this case is going to come from Andrew Tate himself.
The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam.
You're not actually accused of...
Correct.
We were discussing about the accusations.
Yeah. The was actually thrown out very early. I think it was in my first 30 days.
And prosecutors in Bucharest are sending the case to trial, with Andrew Tate charged with...
So the was already thrown out.
The bullshit! I have been investigated for the last 4 years by 3 different federal agencies. If I had done anything wrong, I'd be in jail.
Formal charges against Andrew Tate. The charges include human trafficking, forming an organised crime group,
the trafficking of minors, sexual intercourse with them, influencing statements, and money laundering.
If I had done anything embarrassing to me or anything that was morally reprehensible, it would have been leaked by now. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. Vivian's like 21. Bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen? Did I say listen? No. Look at the camera. Did I say listen? It's this pathetic grandstanding from people on the conservative side who cry their eyes out that 10 years ago someone made a joke on the internet, or 10 years ago somebody slept with a girl. We need to grow up. Did I say it?
And there are still Republicans and conservatives today who who clutch pearls over these things, and I think that they're useful idiots.
Benny Johnson. I'm disappointed. I don't know what Benny Johnson's stance is right now on all of this, but wow. Okay.
Oh, they are useful idiots.
Yeah. You know, when I got into this space, I was naive, and I believe that almost all of the people who were speaking on the sort of things that I wanted to articulate and then put out into the world, I genuinely believe that these people were real. I thought that on the television was where all the fake people were, in the mass mainstream media is where all the liars and these sort of individuals, and that, you know, those who are in front of a camera like I am right now speaking directly to an audience were actually looking to get the truth out. I know that's naivety. I know that that's on me to be foolish enough to believe something like that. But again, I believe that this is the sort of, it's like, if you're a faithful person in your relationships, it's hard for you to imagine that there's people out there who genuinely move in a very shady way. At least if you haven't experienced that. Once you've experienced it, you almost feel like, damn, is everybody just going to do me dirty? Right? But before that, in your mind, it wouldn't even cross like, oh, somebody would just step out on you like that. It just wouldn't. You don't think that there's other people out there who are capable of this evil, or they're doing this for a malicious intention. And so that's why I understand why people will question everything, as you should. You should question me and my intentions. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Always. And always go back to do your own research about everything. Anything I touch base on here, I always say this. Please go out there and think for yourself, do your own research, come to your own conclusions, have your own discernment work, and sometimes you might just find yourself in the very same place. In other cases, I may be wrong, and there may be times I have to come out and say, you know what, I was dead ass wrong about that. But, you know, the more that I've been exposed to the elements, it's just like right now with this Benny Johnson. I had never seen that clip of Benny Johnson before. I know that he sat with Andrew at some point. I didn't know what the context was or anything of that nature, but you know, the framework wasn't the same as like a Candace Owens. Even when I saw Tucker there, I mean, it makes sense now. The sort of guy who throws softball pitches to the likes of Putin and now Andrew Tate sits across from Mr. Death to America himself, the president of Iran, who is suppressing his people at this very moment, who has taken the lives of many of his people because they have tried to stand up against this regime. And he'll throw these, you know, these softball pitches of questions and, you know, ice cream served them, basically kissing the very ground that they walk on. But then when it comes to those who are actually looking to serve America, he is in opposition to them. Well, at least he comes off differently and gives them a different energy. Again, I'm just pointing out things that I see. And somebody called something out in my comment section. It had me thinking, it's like, you know what? The best arguments I could make are just the simple facts. Point out what the hell is actually going on and let us see it for ourselves, as opposed to, you know, when you get into ad hominem world, it's like everybody's favorite word now. When you get into just personal insults, it can take away from the truth. And so that's what I'm looking to do as we continue to move forward, is to just expose the truth. And why do I believe it is necessary? It's not for the sake of drama. It's not for the sake of tabloid. It's for the sake of showing what the hell is actually going on and why. Who is saying what and what is the purpose behind it, at least as far as my own assumption or as far as what they express themselves. Because if you have voices that you tune into, these people are going to have the most meaningful impact in your life. As I said in the very beginning, birds of a feather flock together, or essentially, you know, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that includes digitally. Most of us are listening more to people online than we are people in our lives. What you're listening to is forming your perspective on the world. I think Andrew is dangerous because of what he does and also what he says, because I see how it destroys young men from the inside out. And it is detrimental to then also the women that are going to engage with these young men who become, you know, grown men, etc., and have this skewed perception and are jaded off of life and are bitter and are moving through life in that sort of way. It is unproductive. So you can go to somebody else to listen to self-development. Go listen to Tony Robbins or something, right? Somebody who's mastered the space, and that's all that they're giving. They're not giving all this, the hatred and hatred that they're selling. But beyond that is the dangerous aspects of these people. What are they capable of behind closed doors if this is what they're telling you in front of your face? Everybody is under investigation, including me. Simple. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.